back up into the ring in just a moment or two for more exciting fucking action.
And welcome back to the NWA 1984 project. I am your host, Alex G, and with me, as always, is Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm super duper.
All right, man. Fantastic. So right off the bat, before we get into anything else, there's been some recent changes to YouTube. Now, it seems like the FTC are targeting channels that are targeting children. So there's a lot of channels out there that are catering to children, and YouTube was taking their data, and they got in a lot of trouble for that. So they have this new thing called COPA. It's a piece of legislation that forces YouTube to do certain things. So YouTube's response to that was, essentially any videos that that are kid friendly or are targeting children as potential viewers, they're not demonetizing, but a lot of it has to do where, hey, you can't comment on those videos anymore, and it's a whole slew of shit. So officially, for the record, I would like to state that Retro Wrestling Games is a channel for adults. We do not target children in any way. I would hope and I would pray that our viewers are 18 and above. Again, we tackle numerous topics in terms of video games, comic books, professional wrestling, the things that the FTC may categorize as child friendly, but this channel is not child friendly. So if you're a young person and do not have your parents' permission, please click out of the video. I would greatly appreciate that. I will not be paying that $42,000 fine where the FTC will be finding channels who don't comply with this. Now I went through YouTube and I made sure to tell YouTube that we are an adult-oriented channel, but it seems like the FTC says that's not enough, and they will be going through, I guess, all the channels on YouTube to make sure that YouTube itself is doing the right thing. But for the record, FTC, if you're listening, YouTube, if you're listening, this is not a kid-friendly channel. We do swear on this channel.
We're not an adult-friendly show. Come on now.
We're barely even a show.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there and let people know what's happening. If it comes down to it, if I have to change my content, I probably am going to have to. We'll see how it goes January 1st when this all goes into effect. But as of right now, Retro Wrestling Games is here. We're not going to change anything. We'll move forward with what we're doing, and we'll see how it goes January 1st. So wish us luck on that front. So today's episode, again, is chock full of stuff. We've been away for a little while. Personal, real life often gets in the way of making quality content, but we are back. So I'm happy to be back. Happy to have you along with me for the ride here, Matt. Lots of stuff going on in the crazy world of professional wrestling. And I guess right off the top, I don't want to bury the lead here, but right off the top, we got to talk about the return of CM Punk to the wrestling world. Now, CM Punk already debuted on WWE Backstage. He does not work for the WWE. I want to make that clear. He does not work for the WWE. He works for the Fox network. So he's being paid by Fox. Obviously, the WWE had to prove this. So for me personally, I'm glad to see CM Punk doing something wrestling related. Now, there's a lot of people out there that says he's sold out and went against his convictions because he didn't go to New Japan or AEW and whatever. And this may lead to him coming back to the ring, but we don't know that for sure. And he doesn't know that for sure. At least that's what he's claiming. But me personally, I'm glad to see CM Punk back. The guy is super talented. He's definitely, if he doesn't want to wrestle again, he's someone that could be valuable in so many different ways. It would be in terms of being produced backstage, or even on commentary, or in his current role in front of the camera. So I'm happy to see him back. But there's a lot of AEW fans that are really upset that he's not wrestling for them. And it could be said that he would have made a bigger impact, pardon the pun, if he went to AEW or New Japan instead of working with the WWE on this. So Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, well, it's good to have him back in the mix. I think as an announcers go or commentary, I saw him tweet something about I'm not going to hold punches back or whatever it is. It's not a business like that. It's just, I'm happy for him. Good, whatever. They backed to the Brinks truck to get him. I'm sure.
I'm sure he's getting paid.
But I'm happy about it. It's fine by me. I think the whole thing about like the Smarks being like, "Nah, you sold out." Damn right. bring that truck up with the money. Where's my money? Don't blame them. It's fine.
No, I gotta be honest. I'm a little biased because I'm a big CM Punk fan. I started watching him. I would say like in 02 or 03, whenever his run for IWA Mid-South was. Right before he debuted in Ring of Honor, so that may have been 02. He was like one of those early like buzz guys. Everyone, every time I turn around, people are talking about, this guy CM Punk. CM Punk, he's a hell of a talker. Maybe not the best worker in the world, and he wasn't at the time. He was always a little sloppy, but his promos were fucking amazing even at that young age. The ironic part about that, and I guess we'll get into that a little bit later, is that out of him and Cabana, I thought Cabana would have been more apt for the WWE. He's a bigger guy. He could do the comedy stuff. And I thought he would fit in well in the Santino Marella role in the WWE. And it didn't end up that way for him. He's probably better off that he didn't. Maybe not as pocketbook, but who knows. But I always thought like Cabana was a better fit for WWE than Punk was. I thought we would see Punk like, Punk's going to stay in Ring of Honor forever. He might transition to Impact. He'll do a couple of tours of Japan, and he'll be like the best guy not in WWE. Because we all thought like AJ Styles was going to get signed at some point too, and he never did either. Same thing with Samoa Joe. CM Punk would be the guy left out of the cold. And when they signed him, I was shocked. I was completely shocked, and then they proceeded to do really nothing with him for a while until eventually he did get over on his own accord. And strange things to me is that people were disappointed about the amount of buzz CM Punk generated when he returned. Now, he did get people were losing their minds for that one night on Twitter or whatever. But after that, it seemed to calm down quite a bit. And I think people misjudge this. First of all, I do think that CM Punk would have been more valuable to AEW, especially, they're new and having Punk there would have been fantastic. But I think a lot of people overestimated how over CM Punk is now. 5 years ago, that's a different story, but is now. And people always reference the CM Punk chants. And the CM Punk chants really have nothing to do with CM Punk. The CM Punk chants are the fans kind of giving the finger to the WWE and Vince McMahon.
Right.
And I think a lot of people didn't understand that, and they thought how incredibly over he would be when he came back, based on those chants. But those chants were more of a middle finger to WWE than we love CM Punk.
Right.
There was a lot of guys when CM Punk left that fucking hated him, that fucking couldn't stand him.
Is when I saw the whole thing, I saw the first little announcement about, he's back. He comes out. So I went and watched the video, and my first thought was, okay, is he wrestling?
Yeah.
Like, if he's not wrestling, it's like if someone told me, like, oh, we're going to go see a Star Wars movie, but we're not going to play the movie. We're just going to, sit in the theater. Like, I mean, I think he brings a lot to the business, like, on the mic and everything else. That's fine. He had kind of, I don't want to say turned his back on wrestling, but, kind of outgrown it, I guess, and it's kind of like, I figure, okay, he's done with wrestling, it's fine. I figure you go to movies, but, they gave him a lot. They showed him the money, as they say.
No, absolutely. Welcome back, CM Punk. We're happy to have you anywhere we can get you.
Right.
In the ring on commentary, doing this show, hosting various WWE network projects or whatever, or finally getting your own cartoon. I don't care what it is. I'm glad to have him back.
Right.
And I'm super happy for that. All right. So next up, I want to discuss NWA Power. I've watched all the episodes up until tonight's episode. Couldn't watch it for various reasons. Actually, there's one reason. Jim Cornette, our good friend Jim Cornette, got a little hot water this evening. So during a Trevor Murdoch match, he had a line saying that, essentially, I want to paraphrase here, that Trevor Murdoch is so tough that he could walk through Ethiopia with a bucket of chicken and no one would mess with him. Kind of a throwaway line, whatever. We've heard, Jimmy, with his one-liners and his lines before, right?
Right.
This one got a lot of people outraged on Twitter. Well, I'm surprised on a couple different fronts. And what's shocking to me is not necessarily the outrage, and we'll get to the outrage in a second. I'm shocked that the NWA did not edit this line out of the show. It's fucking bizarre to me. You had this in the can for like a month. So
right.
this is a month old. And you didn't edit this line out? Really, guys? Like, regardless if you think what he said was racist or not, you didn't anticipate the blowback you were going to get from this? Like, come on, guys. Like, really?
Well, do you think maybe they were looking for that?
I don't know. Because it puts the NWA in an unwinnable position. Now, can we say this, in all honesty? Are the people outraged on Twitter your audience? Like, do these people watch the NWA program? Probably not. They're mostly AEW fans, for the most part, that are upset that Jimmy shits on their favorite wrestlers. Would it be Joey Janela, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, what have you, right? So they're going to look for a reason to fucking chop his head off. They've been trying to cancel Cornette for like 2 years at this point, right? So far, it has not worked, unfortunately, for these people. So, there's an element there of that. And then you have the people that are defending them, which can all on its own present problems and be cringy. But it puts the NWA in a not winning position because, if they get enough outrage on Twitter, this could affect future prospects for the promotion in terms of getting a TV deal, sponsorships, or whatever.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But if they pull Cornette out of the show, your loyal NWA audience may turn on you. And that's the end of your program. So it puts them in a really, really bad position. A position that, they shouldn't have been in because they should have just edited the line. So they find themselves kind of at a crossroads. Like, what are you going to do here? Are you going to fire Cornette and alienate your core audience? Or, you have people rag on you forever on Twitter about this. So it puts them in a really unenviable position. Now, one of the issues that I personally have as a person of color myself, and I hate to throw that out there because it's so fucking condescending.
Yeah, really.
A lot of the people that are outraged about this, right, are infuriating to me. Because they're not here to battle racism. They're not here to make the world a better place. All they're necessarily interested in, for the most part, this is not everyone, but for the most part, they're looking to cancel Cornette, looking for a reason to, quote-unquote, cancel Jim Cornette, right? These are the same people who, if they saw me walking down the street, they would cross the street. If I walk past their car, they're going to lock the door. These are the same type of people that, if I walk by them, they're going to clutch their purses. These are the same types of people who go to soup kitchens, take a selfie, and leave. They're not here to fight the good fight. They're not here for the cause. They're here to get likes and retweets on Twitter. They're looking for attention. They want to get the next controversy out there. You know what I mean? Right. And that's infuriating because I do think it hurts the cause overall. Well, what you're doing here is you're pandering, which is wrong. You shouldn't pander because pandering is wrong. And what pandering does, it galvanizes the people looking to do us harm because they're going to rally behind this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And they're going to be social justice warriors and keyboard warriors, and they're going to be like, oh, this too PC and all that. So they're going to fucking rally behind this shit. And it puts me in a bad position. In reality, if it was me, I would have cut the fucking line out of the fucking show. It's a lame-ass fucking joke anyway. You know what I mean? Do I think it's racist? Me personally, no. But I'm not going to sit here and tell another person of color that, hey, you should be offended by that, or you shouldn't be offended by that, because that's wrong. Just like I don't need white people to tell me what I should and should not be offended about. See, that's wrong. So don't fucking come and lecture me about what I should be offended about, because that's fucked up. That's like being a fucking white knight. That shit is fucked up. You're telling me what's racist because I'm too dumb to know what's racist and what's not because I'm a person of color. Fuck that shit, and fuck you. And that shit really pisses me off. You know what I mean? It's like, and you go through, and I went through fucking Twitter today. And I do see some people that have some, who are generally shocked and offended by this. And those people, you guys are going to slide you guys over because I'm not talking to you. Okay? I'll slide those people over the side. You guys are important. I don't want to diminish that. But I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the AEW stalwart fans. I'm looking at perhaps independent wrestlers who have an axe to grind or have an agenda. I'm looking at you guys. You guys are hurting me more than that line because what you're doing is wrong. And you need to take a moment out and look at yourself in the mirror and understand what you're doing is wrong because it's wrong. And that's the bottom line. Don't fucking come and lecture me about fucking racism. I live that shit every fucking day. Don't you fucking dare. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, tomorrow will be something else. You know what I mean? Like, tomorrow will be fucking something else. And I think that's bullshit. And I'm not defending Jimmy here. That's not my place. I'm not in a position to defend him. He's a grown-ass man. Let him defend himself. Fuck. If he takes ownership and responsibility and apologizes or whatever, okay, he can go ahead and do that. Am I going to fucking boycott the NWA? No. Am I going to say, like, he's racist, he's homophobic? Like, stop with that shit. Because what you're being intellectually disingenuous because that's not the case. And the people who are genuinely offended by that, you absolutely have your right to do so. You absolutely, if you're like, you know what, Jimmy said some fucked up shit, I'm not comfortable watching the show anymore. Man, that's on you, man. That's your own decision, man. That's cool.
Right.
Yeah, I want to keep on watching the NWA. That's the bottom line. So whatever you feel about it, it's the way you feel about it. But don't fucking get on this fucking social media bullshit and start lecturing people and start fucking... no. Like, what do they call it? Fucking virtue signaling? Is that what it's called? Virtue signaling? Like, oh, I'm not... Look at me. I'm not racist. That's fucking ridiculous, man. But my problem is it's so fucking over the top. It is so over the top. And I feel like I should be like shuffling and jiving next to him was like, hey, boss, is this racist, boss? You know what I mean? That shit's fucked up. That shit is fucked up. Don't do that shit. Jimmy should apologize. 100%. NWA already put out a statement apologizing. Nick Aldis put out a statement as a real world champion. Let's move on. We'll check it out tomorrow. Now, if Jimmy comes out next week and starts dropping N-bombs all over the fucking place, then that's a different story, guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we talk about casual racism all the time. We talk about racism in wrestling a lot, right? More than we probably should.
Yeah, it's out there.
There's layers to this shit. It's not black and white necessarily. In some cases, it is. Like, I had some guy on Twitter today tell me that racism is subjective. And I'm like, hold on a second, buddy. There's nothing subjective about fucking lynching. That's fucking racism. There ain't nothing subjective about that. Absolutely not.
Well.
It's like, take it easy. So you have you have legitimate, perhaps, white supremacists and racism who's going to use this shit to prove their position. You're making it easy for fucking them because now on anything that happens, they'll be like, oh, social justice warriors and PC culture and all that fucking nonsense. Don't make it easy for those motherfuckers. Don't. Because that's what you're doing. You're hurting us. Stop that shit. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think a lot of the times the racist stuff, people will say, like, oh, he's just doing it to get heat. Or, it's not that, it's a throwaway line. He wasn't made in... Often it's kind of funny how the throwaway lines or things you don't even think of that big a deal end up being the one to blow up the field.
It blows up. It's so bizarre because he said it so fast, too. Like, if you're not looking for it, you're not going to fucking... it doesn't even register.
Right.
But fuck, it's like, we're still talking about casual racism in 2019. It's like, should we, under any circumstances, have racial angles in wrestling? I don't know. That's up for debate. Because heels are bad dudes. Historically, from my understanding, racists are bad dudes. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Remember Colonel De Beers?
He's probably the worst.
He tried to kill Jimmy Snuka.
He tried to fucking paint he tried to paint Derek Dukes white. This is a black man. He tried to paint him white. You know what I mean? So, professional wrestling in general, is built on stereotypes. I think we all understand that. But it's 2019. We need to evolve away from that. Absolutely 100%. But if you go back throughout history, professional wrestling has been also weirdly progressive. Because you're talking about, Pedro Morales being, a Puerto Rican world champion in the 70s, bro. You know what I mean? Or that wasn't happening. But wrestling, oddly progressive, because usually the person who gets the most over is going to be the top guy, regardless of skin tone. Now, there's been cases where that's not been the case.
Right.
And, we can talk about, Bobo Brazil. We can talk about Bearcat Wright, and we can talk about these guys and Rufus R. Jones and JYD and how these guys were, the biggest stars of professional wrestling. Where in a lot of mainstream sports, at the time and throughout certain times in history, that regardless of their talents, black athletes, athletes of color, have not been pushed in prominent positions. There was a point in time where in the NFL, they wouldn't have black quarterbacks because they didn't think they were smart enough. Like, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I remember those days.
So it's like when we look at professional wrestling in whole and total, they're built on stereotypes. You always had your Nazis, your sneaky Japanese,
Pearl Harbor job,
your Middle East sheiks or terrorists to a certain degree. So it's like, but it's weird. It's weird. It's where, like, at times it's 50 years in the past. We have an angle going on today. It's straight out of Mandingo with Lana and Bobby Lashley. That's cringe as fuck. But it's like
Mandingo.
It's ridiculous. And we had fucking Vince McMahon say the N-word on TV one time.
Did he?
He did.
It must have been that block of time I didn't watch.
Yeah.
I missed a lot of dumbass stuff.
It's right around the time I stopped watching regularly. I stopped watching regularly after the Benoit murders. I haven't watched WWE regularly on a weekly basis ever since then.
Well, I told you how I recently stopped watching Raw and SmackDown because it was the same thing. I'd be on my computer writing. I'd barely watch. When I did look up, it was awful. Like, just stupid, awful shit. And the poor guys are working their asses off in the ring to put matches on. But then, okay, that guy won a match, but we never see him again, or we don't see him for 4 months, or...
Yeah, it was always fucking... Like, it's weird. Like, if you look at work rate, the work rate is at one of the highest levels, but it's everything from the production, the storylines are just trash.
Yeah. It's
just trash all around, and it's very disappointing for a longtime fan like myself. So when it comes to casual racism, I'm a big proponent of eliminating all casual racism in professional wrestling. But I don't think that was the case here. Like I said, I'm not defending Jimmy here. He can defend himself. I'm just more concerned about the collateral damage from this.
Right. Well, I always think
fake outrage, and
you have to look at how sponsors look at it. The sponsors are going to be the ones that go like, that's not cool. Because then they're associated. That's why when you have like the Fox News people getting harangued off the air, and they're like, because sponsors don't want to be associated with racism.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. That always comes back to money. It's like,
it's always money.
It's like they don't want to be associated with racist, and that's why I always think, these guys on Fox News or other stations, the InfoWars guys that make these ridiculous claims, or, relatives that do it, it's there, your on your personal time, you can go in your house and say anything you want, but if you go to Walmart in front of cameras and say a bunch of shit like that, if someone said what Jim Cornette said at their office tomorrow, they'd be walking out with a box full of their stuff on the desk.
Oh, 100% agree.
They'd be gone.
Yeah.
It's because, one of my jobs, we had a customer who started screaming at another customer, telling him to go back where they came from, and we promptly escorted the guy who was screaming to our Customer of the Month award. No, I'm kidding. No, we kicked him out of the store. We were like, get out of here. And there's a video, actually, of a woman in one of our stores in Virginia, I think, who's like screaming at someone in a hijab. It's like, come on, man. Like, man, just stop, you know? And I think, unfortunately, we're seeing, you know, keep people saying, oh, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And part of the the casual racism is racism approach is people don't even realize what they're saying can be hurtful.
Right.
Like they're that above it, you know? And like I have a friend online who's always posting things that she's a person of color, and she's posting these like super inflammatory things. Yeah. So one of the things she posted the other day, this is a kind of good way to look at it. It was the words that are not allowed to be used by anybody but black people. And the first word was 411.
Ah. And
I was like, the operator directory? Because somebody in a song in 1980 something made it in part, and I was like, okay, I mean, I can see
that's a Mary J. Blige song, by
some of the things on this list I understand. Like someone saying that's ghetto. Like that's like when I had a woman, you know, flirting with me the other day, a customer, and she's flirting with me, and then she was like, it was wicked retarded, and I was like, ugh. Like
it's epithets are funny,
right?
Because there's a lot of ghettos in the United States, and the majority of the quote unquote ghettos are not in urban centers. They're usually in like these redneck type places with trailer parks and stuff. So it's like it's weird. This is the way we use words, and that's always evolving. And if you're not like if you're like someone like my dad, who's not up on what's appropriate to say today, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. So you have to be careful.
Absolutely.
Because there's words I could say fucking 20 years ago that I can't fucking say today. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you have to be aware. You have to be, you have to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be aware of your audience first and foremost. And when it comes down to the NWA, I would hate for the NWA, because I love what they're doing in terms of the studio television show. I think it's fucking great. Some of it comes off as parody sometimes, so they have to be careful with that, because you want to have the essence of old school wrestling, but you don't want to be a parody of it. And I think, Matt, once you go through all the shows, you see exactly what I'm talking about on that.
Okay.
But it's like you have to be careful. And the powers that be at the NWA, they really needed to take a look at this and just edited it out. Now, Jimmy's going to be Jimmy. You hired Jimmy for this reason. You know what I mean? Right. And he's talking a mile a minute and fucking shit. Shit's gonna verbal diarrhea is gonna fucking come out. Right? It's gonna happen. Right?
Right.
Like what my favorite thing is that I find it hilarious for some reason. It was Clash, the Texas Shootout, and you have Norman the Lunatic. You remember Norman the Lunatic?
I do.
So Norman comes out and he has the teddy bears and he's giving it out to the fans and he's throwing candy out to the fans. And then Cornette comes out. He's a child molester. Like, what? It's like, what? Another favorite Cornette line of mine that it's not even a line. It's just the angle they did. JYD's returned back to the NWA after a hiatus, and Jimmy's like, Junkyard Dog, where have you been? And JYD gives an address, and then Jimmy looks puzzled. And he's like, "That's my mama's house." And JYD goes, "Yeah, and I'm your daddy." It's like, whoa, holy crap. So it's like
JYD.
It's stuff like that. It's like
grab them cakes.
Yeah.
That was on the list, by the way. Cakes was also on the list of words.
Cake?
Cakes. Cake or cakes, plural, yes.
Like booty?
Like booty, yes. That was considered a word that... Again, like I said, my thing about this, and this is kind of my response to it, is, okay, does that mean that I now have to, as I'm Irish, so I can use certain words... I'm also Scottish, so I can use certain words. I'm English, I'm like... I have to go through every one of our nationalities has to go through our word list of what we can use. Like, okay, so you're going to do that dance. Because what happens is eventually gets to the point where someone says, well, you don't belong here because you're not one of us. Like, eventually the cross-cultural kind of like the culinary stew like old melting pot they used to talk about. People say melting pot's terrible. You're losing your identity. Like no, like the country's turning darker, and that's fine. It's the future of this country. It's how it's going to be globally as more and more people get together. But part of the thing is you have to recognize what the people who out there, like I'll tell you right now, there are somebody out there who's repeating what Jimmy said, like as a joke. There's someone
absolutely. There's gonna be people who gravitate to this, and that's not his intent. That people are going to gravitate toward this, and he may have people defend him who he may not want to have defend him, because Jimmy is liberal as fuck. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he may not he's trying to be Jimmy. You know what I mean? He's trying to be Jim Cornette on commentary. Witty and pseudo edgy, and we say this all the time, man. Sometimes when you try to push the envelope, there's going to be a blowback. Unfortunately, that blowback on Twitter could severely hurt the NWA's chances of growing, and it puts them in a bad position, like I said before. I don't know, man. It always puts me in an awkward position because I am obviously a ginormous fan of professional wrestling, and I see how bad it can get, and I see how wrestling fans react to certain things. It really does make me nervous.
Right.
It makes me not want to be around wrestling fans, like, ever. That's like, fuck going to shows, fuck going to autograph signings. Like, these guys are fucking awful fucking people. And, with wrestlers more and more on social media, it makes me look at wrestlers like, I can't cheer for you because you're fucking awful.
Oh, I mean, that's the worst when you see somebody who's like, he's gonna asshole, he beats his wife or whatever it is. Like, remember Adam Rose? The whole thing came out with him and Adam Rose. Remember Adam Rose was the guy lollipop and the dancing and all that shit?
Yeah, and I heard that shit was...
Seen him lately? He found the gym.
Yeah.
He's enormous. And not in a bad way. Like, he's just...
And it's weird. It's weird in general. Because motherfuckers get a pass on a lot of shit. Like, Steve Austin gets a pass.
Right.
On the shit that he did. Ric Flair gets a pass. And he's even celebrated for the fact that he cheated on his wife 1,000 times.
Right.
But it's Flair. It's okay. You know what I mean? Piper gets a pass for a lot of the stuff he says on promos. You know what I mean? Triple H gets a pass where they're literally doing blackface in the ring. And these motherfuckers get a pass for that shit. You know what I mean? And they probably shouldn't. And they probably wouldn't today. But it was, hate to say it was a different time because it wasn't necessarily a different time because a lot of that shit wasn't appropriate back then either. They just got away with it. Bottom line. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, ugh. It's ridiculous overall. So it's like, I often wonder, it's like, I love professional wrestling so much, but I don't think it loves me very much. You know what I mean? So I wish professional wrestling loved me as much as I loved it. And I don't think I'll ever get that. And I guess that's sad to a certain degree. I guess everyone, regardless of what your hobby, what you like, would it be, professional sports, baseball, basketball, football, whatever, and probably there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of New York Knicks fans out here in New York that feel exactly the same way. You know what I mean? Or they're chanting "Fire Dolan" and Jim Dolan is just kicking him out of the building instead of being better. But that's our owner over here, so it's pretty ridiculous.
He sounds like a good guy.
He's a dick. I hate his guts.
No, he's one of the worst owners in sports.
He's up there. Him and Snyder from fucking the Redskins. He's pretty fucking bad. You know what I mean? But you didn't build shit. Your dad invented HBO. Fuck off. You heard it. He's the reason why I can't get FiOS here in Long Island. Fucking dick.
What?
Yeah, so I don't know. Whoever has Verizon FiOS, right? I had it. Okay, I loved FiOS. I thought it was fucking dope as fuck. But then when I bought my house, in the town that I live in, the township, which incorporates many hamlets, but it's huge, which is the town of Brookhaven. They will now allow Verizon come in. They will not allow Verizon come in to lay fiber optics.
Oh, I've been happy, yeah.
And this is due to the fact that they're on Cablevision's payroll. So a lot of the politicians are embedded with Cablevision, which is the problem. So we literally can only have Cablevision, or now Optimum, now Altice, because they've been sold 3 times. So we only have one choice in terms of cable providers in my town. It's either that or get DirecTV, which I don't recommend anyone ever do.
No, don't do that. Don't do it.
And the same thing with the internet. Like, I want that Verizon 5G, baby. Like, come on. And I can't even get that because we're totally blocked. So they have an illegal monopoly here.
I had Fios when I lived in Woburn about 10 years ago, and it was awesome. And my favorite part was that I got AAA from Mexico. So I fell in love with Lucha Libre Wrestling that way. Saturdays are special, man. And, it's one of those things that, the same situation where, the town won't put in the right, Fios cables at the cost, whatever. So instead I got to have, Xfinity/RCN. RCN. Man.
And I basically, when it comes to cable, we have one cable box is up in my father's room, right? My father spent 6 months with us out of the year, and then he goes back to Panama, right? So it's in my dad's room. No one else in the house watches TV like that. Now, we'll do our streaming services, would it be Netflix, YouTube, now Disney Plus, which I have now. And that's it. Like, I don't watch, network television anymore. Like, I can get a digital fucking antenna and shit. I can possibly get it. But not for nothing. Since we have the one box, and they charge you $10 a month for these boxes, right?
Right.
But with the apps, right? So, if you have NBC, if you have the NBC app, you can watch TV on your phone. If you enter in your username and password from your account that I have with Altice. But now I can just stream that from my phone to my TV anyway. So what's the difference? I don't even need a fucking box.
Right. So
it's it's ridiculous. So it's a fucking scam, and it's like they have it's a legal monopoly. That's what it is.
The other thing too is a lot of funny memes over the last couple of weeks popped up because it was like, okay, so now we have Disney as a streaming network, and we have all these others. So essentially, I'm spending $90 on 10 different streaming networks instead of paying cable. Like, you can't have it both ways, guys. Come on.
Yeah, you shouldn't have 10 fucking streaming services. That's ridiculous. You don't watch that fucking much TV.
Right.
You shouldn't. In reality, if you have Netflix and now they have Disney Plus, that's all you really fucking need. If you're less of a movie watcher and more of a TV show watcher, just swap out your Netflix for Hulu. Call that a fucking day. Do you need what is it, Warner, the DC one? Do you need that? No. Do you need that one? No. Do you need HBO Max? No. Come on, relax here. Get it together, guys. And plus, you can just get your friends login and just log in with your friends.
Shh.
I don't have WWE Network anymore.
Me either.
That's no point. I'll get it at some point.
I did watch the Lucha Libre show.
How'd you like it?
I loved it. It had the main event was Psycho Clown, Dr. Wagner, and Pagano versus it was Blue Demon Jr. And then it was I think, oh my god, I'm blanking. I can see him. Rey Scorpion and Texano Jr. I think. So
was Big Mommy on the show?
She was in the opener. It was phenomenal. But the main event was good, except for Blue Demon and Wagner fought up into the crowd and then into the back stands, and then they were gone for the rest of the match. So they basically left early. They were like, yeah. So here's the thing. Opening match is 2 evil chicks in masks and Dimanos, who is this big fat guy in a football jersey with his face painted, against Big Mommy, Moscato Dorado, and Nino Hamburger. So Hamburger Kid. So I loved it. So Big Mommy comes out dressed as Snow White, dances with the dude in the audience, gets in the ring. It's fine. Gets friggin' walloped with a steel chair in the face. Blades bleeding everywhere from her face. So I was like, they put her on the ropes, like beating on her, so they're really showing off the blood. They do a thing in the AAA I notice a lot. They don't do all the time in other promotions. A lot of staged photo or staged cinematography where they want to have like a certain shot. So you can use that shot later on for promotion, which is smart. And it's a smart way to do it. And that match was good, except for Mommy took a double superplex off the top rope that was really hard. She landed really bad because she's big and fat. But she's phenomenal to watch. Like, she's fun. So she got pinned, and she ended up challenging, I think it was the hotter of the two masked women, to a hair versus hair match. The rest of the show was good. No one got killed. I'm sorry, Chessman was involved. Chessman was the main event. That's what I'm thinking of. Texano Jr. and Scorpion, they fought. Oh, shit. Fought some of the guys. But Psycho Clown was good, as always. I did enjoy the match, the 6-man match with Monster Clown and Murder Clown. And I had to explain who a person was watching with me that Murder Clown was the good guy. And Monster Clown's the one that picked the kid off his father's shoulders and carried him to the ring like a sack of potatoes, whipped him around. And you could see the security was like terrified that something was going to happen to this kid. So they swooped in and took the kid. But it was a damn entertaining show. And what was also great, after the show, it was on Twitch. Afterwards, they showed old 2007 footage of AAA, which was right in my wheelhouse. It was right when I was watching Cibernetico, Messias, all these guys I loved. And then, of course, I look and I'm like, whatever happened to Cibernetico? Well, he's in CMLL right now, which for me may as well be like on the moon. But I will want to push luchablog.com. I follow him on Twitter as well, luchablog. He's phenomenal in that he also translates what's going on, and he has connections. So it's really great to he's kind of like a Dave Meltzer for lucha, in my opinion. You know, he knows a lot of stuff. And the only thing I have not heard updates on is La Parca. Like, is he dead? Like, I know he slammed his head into the floor there.
I swear I just saw a picture of him fishing with no shirt on. And just,
you may have.
Because it's La Parca being La Parca.
Right.
I only have the patience to watch AAA once a year. So I usually save that for Triple Mania. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fun show. Well, it is a hard show to watch. There's a lot of mistakes and little errors. And there's tons of air. And by air, I mean, like, you know, the guy goes to kick somebody and totally misses.
Yeah.
But I will say, seeing NJPW live and seeing how fast they work, it's like someone has a gun, like we're going to kill your family if you don't finish the match in 4 minutes. Like, Ibushi had tons of air in a bunch of his kicks.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think what it is when you're live, you can see, you know, you don't get the same camera angle, so you can see a lot more. But I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. And I enjoyed AAA. That was fun. I would watch it all the time. There was actually one thing that was nice about it was they had American announcers, or not American, English-speaking announcers.
Yeah.
So I was flipping back and forth. But it's a way better product with the Spanish announcers.
100%.
Because Hugo's like, go make the guy! You know, he's just getting into it. And the other guy's like, wow, that's a great move. That's a great move. It's like, they reminded me of a local cable wrestling show for the awkwardness.
It's literally the equivalent of having me and you fucking do commentary over it.
Well, I would scream and holler. I'd be fun with that. But, like, it's more the case of, like, the guys they have doing it are they're not selling it. They're just kind of telling you what's happening. Like, and that's fine. But, like, you know, spend a little money or get these guys more involved and engaged. So.
Well, I think The Office has always done a bad job of prepping these guys.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the one thing. It's like, hey, you know, talk about this. You know, explain the angles because, you know, we don't understand Spanish when we're you know, watching the video packages or whatever they have. So,
yep.
You know, it can be a difficult watch. It's hard. It's a big barrier to entry when it comes to Lucha Libre for most professional wrestling fans in general. So,
yeah.
It's one thing to be aware of. All right, since this is a show that's supposedly about 1984 NWA,
sure it is.
I do want to go over some of the notable events in 1984 in terms of professional wrestling. So you had the UWA 9th anniversary show, and that was on January 29th. You had the anniversary show for EMML, that was on April 8th. You had the first ever David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions, which was on May 6th. The WWF had the Brawl to End It All, and that was on July 23. WWC had the 11th anniversary show. EMML had the 51st anniversary show, which is weird because, I'm sorry, it was the 20th anniversary of Arena Mexico, and they also had the 51st anniversary show for EMML, now CMML. World Class had the first Cotton Bowl extravaganza, and Jim Crockett Promotions had Starrcade 84. Notable incidents, which I think is cute. You had the debut of Tuesday Night Titans, which we gotta talk about that more at some point because that show is ridiculous. I want to send you over like all the footage I have for that because it's insane. You had Black Saturday, which is Vince McMahon purchasing Georgia Championship Wrestling. And you had Winnie Rector, who became the new WWF Women's Champion by ending Fabulous Moolah's 28-year reign as champion. And then we have the awards for 1984. You had Wrestler of the Year was Ric Flair. Tag Team of the Year was the Road Warriors. Match of the Year was Ric Flair versus Kerry Von Erich. Most Popular Wrestler of the Year, Kerry Von Erich, beating out Hulk Hogan. Most Hated Wrestler of the Year, Roddy Piper. Most Improved Wrestler, Billy Jack Haynes. Most Inspirational Wrestler, surprised they didn't, they got an award for something else. Most Inspirational Wrestler, Sergeant Slaughter, coming off his babyface turn. Rookie of the Year, Mike Von Erich, really? Really?
Yeah, that was a stuffed ballot, baby. Who should it have been?
Marty Jannetty. Or Shawn Michaels. Or Great Muta. Or Masachono. Or Hashimoto. Or Nagami. Maybe not Kendall Windham. Maybe Italian Stallion. Maybe Undertaker. Possibly Yokozuna. Tugboat. I would have given it to Steve Dahl. No, I would give it to Steve Armstrong. All those wrestlers debuted in 1984.
Wow. No, there it is.
And I think people forget that fucking Undertaker's been around for a very long time. He debuted in 1984, protege of Bruiser Brody, by the way. So Taker's been around for a minute. He recently had an interview with Steve Austin. So out of those guys, I can see Scott Hall winning it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe Marty, because Marty had a really good run early on in his career. Those wrestling guys didn't do. I'm surprised they didn't go to Kendall Windham, to be honest. I mean, yes,
yeah,
he's the skinniest man alive. Yeah, being a Windham and all, I thought he would have took it over Mike Von Erich. He was a terrible, terrible worker.
Yeah, Mike Von Erich was awful. Poor guy.
People who were born in 1984, you have Corey Graves, Daivari, El Hijo de Fantasma, Kevin Owens, Nia Jax, Scott Dawson, Sami Zayn, El Texano Jr., Eve, T.J. Perkins, Drake Younger, Baron Corbin, Eva Marie, Manu, remember Manu, Brooke Adams, Rusev, Jason Paul, Sunil Singh, all born in 1984. The Wrestler Observer Awards, Wrestler of the Year, Ric Flair, Feud of the Year, The Freebirds vs. Von Erichs, Tag Team of the Year, Road Warriors, Most Improved, The Cobra, yes, based on good old George Takano's victories at Madison Square Garden. And Best Interviews, Jimmy Hart, which Jimmy Hart in 84 was on fire. This is right before he came to WWF. I believe he came to WWF 1985, so he came in the very next year. And then we'll save Starrcade when we do our Starrcade show in a couple of weeks. So we're not gonna go over Starrcade 84, but let's take a look at the Brawl to End It All. The Brawl to End It All.
End it all.
You know, I have both versions. There's two versions of this show.
What?
There's the MTV version.
Oh.
So there's the version that was aired live on MTV, which had the Winnie Rector versus Moolah match, I believe. Yeah, it was the only match that was shown on television, and I believe it had fucking like interviews around it. Did a 9.0 on MTV, by the way. That's how fucking old that shit was in '84.
Wow.
But the Brawl to End It All in general it's a real interesting show to take a look at. Matches included Sika, who defeated Ron Shaw, the Iron Sheik, who defeated Tony Garea, Tito Santana wrestled Bob Orton Jr. to a draw. Bob Backlund defeated Paul Vachon. Backlund's still around in WWF this late, too.
Wow.
Hulk Hogan defeated Greg Valentine. Antonio Inoki defeated Charlie Fulton. Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch, the WWF Tag Team Champions, defeated Sergeant Slaughter and Terry Daniels. You had your Richter versus Moolah match. This is when Richter wins the belt. Orndorff versus Chief J Strongbow. Alpha defeated Rene Goulet. And a 20-man battle royal won by Antonio Inoki. He was not on this show, Andre the Giant.
Wow, was he because he was confused?
I want to say he was in Japan, but I don't think he's in Japan if Inoki's here.
Did he have the broken leg at the time?
It might have been the sternum, maybe. No, it might have been the ankle with fucking Killer Khan, maybe.
No, that was a couple years later, I think.
Was it?
I think so. That was like 86, 87, wasn't it?
Killer Khan?
Killer Khan.
Is that a vague Shaka Khan reference?
Thank you. You got it.
Oh.
If you got it, then it is.
I'm a ridiculous person overall. I watched this show. Again, it's weird seeing like expansion era WWF. So like mid '83 up until WrestleMania is a really weird time to watch WWF because you see bizarre shit like Antonio Inoki in a battle royal. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, oh yeah, Inoki was there. Or you'll see like fucking Bull Nakano like randomly for no reason. Because they still have their deal with fucking New Japan. And so you see a lot of Japanese, you got Tatsumi Fujinami and stuff like that, Cobra, Tiger Mask. You know, you see those guys come in. But yeah, it's an average, in some cases below average MSG house show. But again, that women's match, and everyone talks about women's revolution. Yo, there ain't no fucking women's match getting a 9.0 rating anywhere.
Right.
But fucking Wendy Richter versus Moolah fucking did. It's funny because they never really followed up with that because after WrestleMania, you know, Wendy Richter was essentially gone.
Ice cold.
I'm surprised that Lauper's not in the Hall of Fame. You know, Cyndi Lauper was a big reason for that boom period, that Rock and Wrestling connection that really set it off. It certainly wasn't the fucking booking talents of George Scott, that's for sure. I do want to talk about the Cotton Bowl show also, while I have you guys' attention here. Much better show than fucking the Brawl to End It All. You had Iceman King Parson and Bush Reed who wrestled at the time of a draw. You had Killer Khan, so I guess because Killer Khan was in World Class at the time. Defeated Jules Strongbow. Norvell Austin, my favorite Midnight Express member. And Skip Young wrestled to a draw. Buck Zumoff defeated Coco Beware. Missing Link defeated George Weingroff. Kerry Von Erich defeated Butch Reed. The Fantastics, Bobby Fuller and Tommy Rogers, defeated El Diablo and Kelly Kiniski. And this is for a match for the NWA America Tag Team Championship. Mike Von Erich and Stella Marie French defeated Gino, Hernandez, and Andrea the Lady Giant. Remember Andrea the Lady Giant?
I do not.
That is Baby Doll, the perfect 10.
Was it really? Wow.
You had Kevin Von Erich defeated Chris Adams, and in your main event, the dynamic duo of Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez with Jake the Snake Roberts defeated Bobby Fulton, subbing for Kevin Von Erich, Kerry Von Erich, and Mike Von Erich. Much better show, by the way. What'd they draw here? 12 grand. 12,000 people. You know what that Mark Gardner show did? Fucking 23,000 people. How hot was fucking WWF was? Jesus Christ.
Well, like I was going to say, people never take into account, like, you know, 5 channels on TV, you know, like it's also what you had time to do. Like, now you can diversify yourself between so many different projects at once, or shows at once.
Agreed. But, you know, picture this, guys. WWF is doing 20,000 people every 6 weeks at the Garden for years. Yeah, that's big money gates, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big money gates. 1984 WWF was fucking hot. Although, you know, it's funny. Well, I think some people bring this up, but I really hammer this home quite a bit. Hogan spends a lot of time in Japan. In 84. He's essentially part-time. Him and Andre are part-time in WWF 84. He was carrying the fucking load in the first half of 84, fucking Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, Sergeant Slaughter.
He was carrying the load in the second half of fucking 84. Roddy Piper versus Jimmy Snuka. And it's funny because Jimmy didn't even make most of those shows because he's Jimmy Snuka. So it's like, oh, it's Roddy Piper And replacing Jimmy Snuka, CV Afi.
CV Afi, I remember him.
Yeah. So I think wrestling in 1984 was exceptionally strong. Again, Mid-South doing fucking fantastic stuff. JCP taking a step back because they had a really great 1983, so they're taking a step back in 84. Dusty does get the book halfway through the year, so he has to, rejigger everything around. They lose Ricky Steamboat because, Ricky saw the writing on the wall and was like, no, I don't want to be the second tier babyface to Dusty. I'd much rather be second tier babyface to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, right.
I wonder about. I want to head over back to Punk for a second. I wonder how much AEW actively pursued CM Punk.
Well, there was a word that he had been offered like $1 million, something like that, or like millions. Like he was offered a ton of money.
We don't know that for sure, though.
We don't, and I would say if I think one thing is part of a theory I have is that what if it's been 5 years, 4 years?
Yeah.
He's not the same. It's like when they bring back, it's Brock Lesnar in the octagon again. Dude, he wasn't that good. He got ass with last time.
You think if he ends up going back in the ring, he's going to get exposed?
Could be. Some of the guys could be like work circles around him because it's like been so long.
I still think this, and I might be a mark for saying this or whatever.
You're a mark.
If I was AEW, not only am I backing up the Brinkstruck, I'm giving him trade controls also. I'm giving him a Hogan-type deal.
Well, you know what he could be doing? Just one theory I have.
You leverage it?
Using Fox to rebuild himself as a brand.
Yeah.
And then jump ship.
Possible. It's very possible. Like, if he's on this WWE show, so it's like now, he has the ability to negotiate, where before, when everyone thought he'll never go back to WWE, doesn't give him a lot of fucking room to maneuver and leverage both companies against each other. So it might be a smart play on his part. But I'm wondering if Cody, because, a lot of people are like, oh, Punk is tight with all these guys. No, he's not. When these guys came to prominence on the indie scene, Punk was already gone.
Yeah.
So he didn't have much of a relationship with the Young Bucks and Moxley.
Yeah.
And, he would be more familiar with Cody than anyone else. Like, those guys are Cabana's guys. And I wonder if his blow with Cabana had something to do with it also, him not signing with AEW.
Oh, good.
Because those guys are Cabana's friends.
Yep.
And there could have been some heat there. So, and there's also a thought, Cody is a Rhodes. Maybe in his mind is like, I'm not going to play second fiddle to fucking CM Punk.
Or they could be thinking, why don't we wait until we see that we need someone to break the glass and bring the CM Punk in? Because the first thing I thought of was they must have hit rock bottom. I didn't realize it was Fox bringing him on. I thought it was a B at first. But I was thinking they must have hit rock friggin' bottom.
Yeah, but Vince has been known to do that. Like, Vince will take guys that he has heat with and bring them back.
Right.
There's not one guy that he hasn't done it. Even Savage. Now, Savage didn't live long enough to make a full return, but he was able. He started working with action figures with them right before he died, and obviously he's in their marketing, and he's not persona non grata when it comes to WWE.
Right.
He had DVDs, he has toys put out. He's in the video game. You know what I mean? So, if Vince had that much heat with Savage, he wouldn't have used him in any capacity at all. He would have been, persona non grata, like I said. Like, even Bruno came back. How many times have you brought back Billy Graham? Billy Graham always tries to sue him. He brought back Ventura a couple times. You know what I mean? And they had heat. So, Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, Hall and Nash. I think there's the ego things, like they really do. I'm going to bring them back because they really do need me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, look at the shit that he took from fucking Shawn Michaels. Like, Shawn Michaels fucking drove him fucking nuts. Like, he has this weird thing. Vince has this weird thing about, like, he'll respect you for not letting you shit on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He might fire you. He fired Gene Okerlund like every month. But he'll respect you. Like, he respects Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar walked out on him, essentially.
Right. Well, I think
they built up Brock so much. And 04, he's gone. You know what I mean?
I think if it's a thing where if you show you're willing to, like, you know, walk out, to him, you might see that as some sort of, like, you know, all right, you know, like punching a bully in the face. Like, you know, the guy's like a respectable fighter. He'd be like, oh, okay, you got it, you know.
I mean, yeah, I agree with the sentiment there, and you know, we'll see what happens overall when it comes to the Punk in general. You know, do I want to see him back in the ring? Yeah, but I only really want to see him back in the ring if he can go.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to see him back in the ring if it's going to be. I hated those. You remember those old guys that would just come back and it would be the shit.
Oh yeah.
It's like seeing like Pedro pass his prime. Even Bruno, like in '85 or '86, although he had a good program with fucking with Piper.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like how many, like bringing Hogan back, how many times? Oh, it's like we don't see him work again. I hope this all works out, and I hope I hope Punk, because I think a lot of people forget like how influential on the industry he was. He broke down a lot of those barriers. So a guy like Seth Rollins and John Moxley and Kevin Owens, and he gave them the opportunity, Daniel Bryan, to make it to WWE, because WWE were not signing those guys.
Right.
They're not going to sign a Kevin Owens if it wasn't for CM Punk. Being able to break that mold, make that barrier, he broke through. With everything against him, he broke through, and maybe he can, quote unquote, change the culture again. We'll see how that happens. You know what I mean? All right, guys. So we are officially out of time. So for Matt Riley, I'm Alex G. Have a good night.